Friends, imagine you've spent months, maybe even a year, studying for 10 to 12 hours every single day, sacrificing social life, hobbies, and sometimes even sleep, just to crack one of the biggest competitive exams in India. Now imagine reaching your exam center only to find chaos, broken systems, and in some cases, a cancellation notice staring right back at you. That's exactly what has happened to hundreds of thousands of students across the country right now. They are furious, and the reason is the complete disaster that was the SSC Phase 13 exam. There are shocking reports from across India. Students say that in some centers, the paper was handed out half an hour before the exam even began. Others claim that 60 to 70% of the questions were repeated from earlier shifts. Computer systems froze mid-exam. Servers went down entirely, and in several places, entire shifts were cancelled. Adding insult to injury, some students were allotted exam centers thousands of kilometers away from their homes. And when students and teachers protested, the police didn't listen, they beat them. This exam was supposed to fill Group B and C vacancies in different government ministries and departments. It was held between July 24th and August 1st this year. Millions of young people prepare for it every year, chasing their dream of a stable government job. But the moment the first shift began, on July 24th, everything spiraled into chaos. Normally, admit cards are issued 4 days before the exam. This time, they weren't even ready 2 days before. Some students received blank admit cards. From day one, reports of mismanagement poured in. At many centers, the biometric verification system wasn't working properly, delaying the start for hundreds of candidates. In some cases, students couldn't take the exam at all. Old, outdated computers were provided at many venues, with technical glitches freezing screens for 10 to 15 minutes at a time. Imagine losing that much time in a race where every second matters. Some students had to click a mouse 4 or 5 times just to register an answer. When they complained to center staff, they were denied replacements. In other centers, power cuts halted exams entirely, with no backups in place. Image-based questions wouldn't load. And pens provided for rough work were of such poor quality that students struggled to write. This mismanagement wasn't limited to technology. The physical conditions at many centers were shocking no fans in sweltering heat. Broken chairs, cramped rooms, no drinking water, and no functioning washrooms. Some exam centers were in remote, unsafe locations. At one center, the ground floor was home to cows and buffaloes while students took the test upstairs. At another, loud music blared just outside, making it impossible to concentrate. Think about it, months of preparation, endless hard work, and then, on the most important day, you face this. How would you feel? Like every ounce of effort had been thrown into the garbage. That's why I always say, never stake your future entirely on one exam. Always have a plan B and plan C. Now, back to the SSC disaster. Students say the exam staff was shockingly unprofessional. Invigilators were on their phones watching reels instead of supervising. In some centers, there weren't even invigilators present. And perhaps the most alarming claim is that some centers had bouncers. Yes, bouncers. Their job to intimidate or silence students who dared to speak about the mismanagement. In several places, when students protested, they were beaten. Another major accusation was that the question papers were repetitive between shifts, making cheating and leaks much easier. And while SSC usually assigns centers based on students' top 3 preferred cities, this time that process was ignored. Students who had selected cities like Delhi and Noida were given centers in 500 to 1,000 kilometers away. One student from Kanpur was given a center in central Karnal 2,000 kilometers away. Even after traveling such massive distances, many arrived to find the exam cancelled with no prior notice. Students have put the blame on Eduquity Career Technologies, the company SSC hired to conduct the exam. SSC Docenti have its own software for online exams and hires vendor companies to manage logistics, biometric verification, and center assignments. Until recently, TCS handled this job. But in April 2025, the contract went to Eduquity, a company the Central Directorate General of Training had already declared ineligible for conducting exams back in 2020. Despite multiple controversies, including paper leaks and irregularities in exams across different states, they keep winning new contracts. When the SSC announcement came, people on platforms like Reddit were already warning that things would get messy. And on the very first day, hashtags like SSC vendor failure and SSC mismanagement began trending. Teachers supported students, revealing that SSC had received more than 55,000 complaints from just 300,000 candidates. The question is, how will they handle the upcoming SSC CGL exam on August 13th with over 3 million students, especially when the same vendor is in charge? Instead of fixing the mess, the government started targeting those raising their voices. Teachers who criticized the process found their social media accounts suspended. Students moved their protest from Twitter to the streets, gathering in Delhi on July 31st with a clear demand: cancel Eduquity's contract, give the work back to TCS, postpone the CGL exam, and investigate the vendor's selection process. They also demanded that the government pay for re-examinations of affected students. More than 1,000 students and teachers gathered outside the Department of Personnel and Training in Delhi, hoping to meet Minister Jitendra Singh. Police blocked them, detained many, and kept them on a bus for hours. Some protesters say they were beaten. By night, they were released. But the message was clear: students are being treated like troublemakers, not the future of the nation. The government stayed silent, while opposition leaders jumped in to frame it as a political failure. But here's the bigger truth: this isn't just about one exam. From UPSI leaks to IBPS scams and R&B protests, the recruitment system in India is collapsing. Forget creating new jobs. The government can't even run a fair hiring process for the ones that exist. If the government truly cared, they would scrap this one contract, give it back to a capable vendor, or develop SSC's own exam software. It's not rocket science, and in the long run, it would even save money. But looking at how things stand, expecting that might be wishful thinking. To every student watching this, I want you to remember, an exam is not the sole measure of your worth. I know it's heartbreaking when the system fails you, but don't give up. Keep fighting for justice, but also keep building yourself outside of it. I've seen people succeed without topping any exam, and you can too. If you agree that what happened in the SSC Phase 13 exam is unacceptable, I want you to go to the comments right now and tell me what you think should be done. Your voice matters, and together, we can make sure it's heard.